Subscribe to the MTL World at Malworld 1 YouTube channel. Novel, The Primordial Law. Volume 3, Chu Prefecture Lantern Festival. Chapter 82 226 Clash of Major Powers. 82nd of Volume 3. Translator, Shadow Knight AK. Editor, Shadow Knight AK. Night had fallen, and the wind whipped the clouds across the sky. It was a perfect night for killing. The inner city walls of Chu Prefecture City stood 15 zhong tall, constructed from 10,000 jin blocks of blue iron stone. A 4 zhong wide walkway ran along the top, with watchtowers every 5 li and battlements every 3 zhong. Led by Zuoqiu Ting, the 4 ascended the 3-story watchtower. In the biting evening wind, they surveyed the inner and outer cities. The Thundercloud sect's stronghold, the Thunderpool Hall, was perched atop a low hill outside East City's outer walls. Taoist-style buildings covered the hillside, spanning dozens of acres. At the summit stood a 9-tiered purple formation tower, crackling with lightning and surrounded by circling electric birds, making it an unmistakable landmark. Whoosh! A young great spiritual master from the imperial court, his brow radiating spiritual light, used the beast-taming technique to control a several-meter-long black-feathered exotic beast carrying thunder law profound ice on its back. The beast swooped down from mid-air, aiming to destroy the formation. A 10-foot-long golden feather arrow shot from a plaza within the Thunder Pool Hall, piercing the exotic beast in mid-air. The beast dissolved into a mist of blood and scattered feathers. Boom! The thunder law profound ice crashed to the ground, leveling an area dozens of yards wide. Lu Kangsheng, clad in a black robe, stood atop the highest building beneath the 9-tiered formation pagoda, observing the scene below and issuing orders. Immediately, the 100-character scripture spiritual artifact heavy crossbow on the plaza swiveled and fired another 10-foot-long golden feather arrow. Like a golden meteor, the arrow pierced the night sky and struck a Calamity Fire Realm great spiritual master 5 miles away, who instantly exploded into a bloody mist, leaving no intact flesh behind. With 1 attack and 1 defense, the battle reached a stalemate. The Imperial Court's next wave of attacks was even more ferocious. 8 spiritual artifact war chariots, approaching from 8 different directions in the sky and on the ground, charged forward with overwhelming force. As the chariots raced across the battlefield, the air vibrated, and the entire city domain trembled. Whoosh! Within the Thunderpool Hall, the 9-tiered formation pagoda swelled violently, its height increasing tenfold to become a 1,000-meter-tall purple mountain that enveloped several miles of land, completely destroying all 8 war chariots. The thunder law profound ice within the chariots was fully activated, transforming into 8 thunder seas that unleashed their fury. Lightning flashed continuously across East City, some bolts shooting straight into the clouds, others arcing horizontally across the sky. This large-scale clash between martial mystic cultivators was comparable to a battlefield confrontation, the destructive power unleashed far exceeding the 5 seas realm level. From the 3rd-tier watchtower atop the inner city wall, Qishao surveyed the scene, then glanced at the top 3 invitation in his hand. 6 out of 10 of the Imperial Court's top martial mystic cultivators have arrived. Many 1st-tier, 2nd-tier, and 3rd-tier figures are already present, yet after half an hour of fighting, they still can't break through the Thunder Pool Retreat's defenses. Shi remarked, Lu Kangsheng's turtle shell divine technique is truly peerless. Zuoqiu Ting, with one hand behind his back, exuded an elegant aura as he smiled. In terms of defense, no one among the younger generation can match Lu Kangsheng. Moreover, the Thundercloud sect understands the Thunder Law profound ice better than any other force. They naturally know how to resist it and how to detonate it prematurely. Li Wei, clad in a black Taoist robe with his hair bound by a wooden hairpin, possessed a striking yet relaxed air of mystery. That formation tower is no simple matter. The energy it unleashed just now felt like even Jie Shantong himself would have been repelled. Was it crafted by a formation master below the level of spirit sense master? Zuoqiu Ting replied, the Thundercloud sect dispatched 10 young Calamity Fire Realm great spiritual masters to Chu Prefecture City. Using the 4th-grade 100-character scripture artifact, the Thunder Tower, as its foundation, they spent 3 months constructing this 9-tiered formation pagoda. Its defensive strength far surpasses any formation a great spiritual master could set up in such a short time. 100-character scripture artifacts vary in power depending on the number of scriptures inscribed within. They are classified into 9 grades. 100 to 200 scriptures, 1st grade 100-character scripture artifact. 200 to 300 scriptures, 2nd grade. 300 to 400 scriptures, 3rd grade. In the Thunder Pool Hall Square, the heavy crossbow shrouded in a cloud of spiritual chi, with over 100 scriptures flashing across its surface, was a 1st grade 100-character scripture artifact. Li Wei, unfamiliar with the world's spiritual artifacts and warfare, asked, if the Thundercloud sect can activate a 4th grade 100-character scripture artifact, why doesn't the Imperial Court use 5th grade or 6th grade 100-character scripture artifacts? Or even 1,000-character scripture spiritual artifacts? Qi Xiao laughed heartily. Brother Wei, we're martial mystic cultivators in the 5 Seas realm. With the grade and quantity of spiritual qi in our bodies, it's difficult for us to effectively activate 100-character scripture artifacts. Only top-tier martial mystic cultivators who have cultivated 6th level qi can fully unleash the power of a 1st grade 100-character scripture artifact. As for a 2nd grade 100-character scripture artifact, with my cultivation, I can only activate a portion of its power, perhaps 60 or 70%. The higher the grade, the harder it is to activate. While the power does increase, the difference is limited. For example, if I were to wield a 4th grade 100-character scripture war sword, I could only unleash 1 or 2/10 of its power. It would boost my combat strength slightly, giving me a chance to challenge an inheritor. Give me a 1,000-character scripture spiritual artifact, and I dare to go head-to-head with an inheritor. But what if it's stolen? Our Qi clan, a powerful clan and noble family of Li Prefecture, possesses only 3,000-character scripture spiritual artifacts, each a treasure passed down through generations. Is it worth turning yourself into a fat sheep for such a small boost in combat power? Besides, at our 5 Seas realm cultivation, activating high-grade spiritual artifacts takes considerable time. You might not even have activated the artifact before someone's sword cleaves off your head, just like Uz. In individual combat, it's best to use a familiar spiritual artifact. Heavy artifacts and grand formations are only necessary for clashes between major powers. The Thundercloud sect's 4th grade Shocking Thunder Pagoda and 9 grand formations require the combined efforts of 10 Calamity Fire Realm Great Spiritual Masters and a large number of Earth Fire Realm and Heavenly Fire Realm Great Spiritual Masters to unleash their full power, transforming into a 1,000-meter-tall formation mountain peak. The mental power consumption is undoubtedly immense. Zhuao Ting said, the Imperial Court's Thunder Law Profound Ice is nearly exhausted. They should be about to activate a high-grade 100-character scripture artifact. Look, the Imperial Court's 5 Seas realm martial mystic cultivators are gathering in large numbers. Qi Xiao asked, young Master Ting, what level of spiritual artifact are we preparing to use for our attack on the Governor's Manor and the far western Ashland's headquarters? Keep this confidential, Zhuao Ting said. Li Wei secretly considered the grades of the spiritual artifacts he carried. The corpse garment soft armor he wore closest to his body was likely the lowest grade, not reaching the level of a 1,000-character scripture spiritual artifact. He could already activate its faint blood-red scriptures and unleash some of its power even in the surging spring realm. He couldn't yet sense the scriptures within the ghost banner, indicating it was of a higher grade. Its primary offensive capabilities came from its ice-cold power and the ghost general sealed within. The evil camel bell was likely a 1st grade 100-character scripture artifact, and he dared not reveal it because it involved the Forbidden One, Xuanhuan. Master Coffin had mentioned the black iron seal before, saying it was a treasure of the Thundercloud sect, to be used only in life or death situations. Li Wei realized he was the fat sheep Qi Xiao had mentioned. Using the black iron seal would dramatically boost his combat power, making defeating an inheritor effortless. However, he knew it would also bring him endless trouble after the Hidden Dragon Lantern Festival. The Yellow Dragon Sword, on the other hand, was his most comfortable weapon. It had grown stronger alongside him, like a custom-made blade perfectly suited to his abilities. Li Wei pondered whether he should recruit more martial mystic path experts to jointly activate the Black Iron Seal, delivering a decisive blow to Luansheng Linyu at a crucial moment. Whoosh! A wave of spiritual artifact arrows soared into the night sky, resembling a brilliant river of stars arcing toward the Thunder Pool Hall. Simultaneously, the Imperial Court's 5 Seas realm martial mystic cultivators completed their assembly on the streets. Led by 9 7th Sea Realm martial mystic cultivators, nearly 100 5 Seas Realm martial mystic cultivators channeled their spiritual qi into a cauldron-shaped 100-character scripture artifact. The cauldron-shaped artifact erupted in crimson light, spinning as it rose from the ground. It grew larger and brighter with each passing moment. After ascending 10 meters, the cauldron-shaped artifact expanded to the size of a house, engulfed in flames. 535 scriptures shimmered across its surface, illuminating all of East City. The dark clouds in the sky were dyed crimson by the cauldron's radiance. Whoosh! From the Thunder Pool Hall, a golden crossbow bolt a meter long shot forth. Its sonic boom echoed like thunder. The cauldron-shaped artifact merely trembled slightly. The air rippled, scattering countless scriptures and unleashing a surge of energy that shattered the bolt into several pieces. The cauldron-shaped spiritual artifact soared into the sky, radiating immense power like a blazing sun. Activate the formation tower at full power. Lu Kangsheng roared. Boom! The nine-tiered formation pagoda transformed once more into a 1,000-meter-tall mountain of purple lightning, colliding head-on with the cauldron-shaped spiritual artifact. The hill where Thunder Pool Hall stood shook violently, buildings collapsed, and cracks appeared in the mountainside. Fortunately, they withstood the blow, and the formation remained unbroken. Qi Xiao remarked, the imperial court is pulling out all the stops. Ultimately, war is about people. The more martial mystic cultivators they have, the more powerful the spiritual artifacts they can activate, and the deeper their foundation. The disparity in strength between the two sides is vast. Thunder Pool Hall's formation will inevitably be breached sooner or later. Once the formation falls, the battle will likely become a one-sided slaughter. The Thundercloud sect isn't weak, Shi countered. After all, they were once the masters of the Lingxiao realm. The imperial court will pay a heavy price to take them down. Zhuo Qiuting nodded. Knowing that the imperial court forces led by Zhe Shantong were coming to East City, Lu Kangsheng didn't immediately flee and abandon the Hidden Dragon Lantern Festival. Clearly, he has something he's relying on. Li Wei chuckled. Perhaps Lu Kangsheng guessed that the Zhuoqiu clan would definitely come to his aid. I think he's just unwilling to part with that immortality pill ticket. Qi Xiao said. Shi replied, it's a immortality pill. Who would willingly give that up? Whoosh. Nearly 100 more Imperial Court 5 Seas Realm martial mystic cultivators, wielding a hammer-shaped 5th grade 100-character scripture artifact, rose from another district and attacked the Thunder Pool Hall. A terrifying aura, enough to make one's heart palpitate, emanated from the inner city. A silver, shuttle-shaped spiritual artifact plummeted straight from the clouds, surrounded by countless scriptures. It pierced through the Dragon Sect stronghold's defensive formation like a hot knife through butter, crashing into the ground and kicking up a thick cloud of dust. Boom. The powerful shockwave spread across dozens of miles, reaching the city walls. Zhuo Qiuting, Li Wei, and the other two immediately looked in that direction. The Dragon Sect stronghold was the residence of an ancient immortal realm giant, covering a vast area and boasting formidable defenses. However, suppressed by the Dispel rune, all its defensive formations crumbled under the Silver Shuttle's attacks. Buildings within the stronghold collapsed in droves. The attackers were from the far western ashlands. The silver, shuttle-shaped spiritual artifact had been propelled by over 205 Seas Realm martial mystic cultivators. They were a massive, imposing force, hailing from various factions, each a dragon among men. Luansheng Linyu stood atop a tall building several hundred meters from the Dragon Sect stronghold. His long hair fluttered in the wind as he gracefully reached out to the void, retrieving the silver shuttle-shaped spiritual artifact and holding it in his palm. Whoosh! The silver shuttle-shaped spiritual artifact melted, transforming into a liquid silver mask that settled on his face. He then issued the order to besiege the Dragon Sector, leaving no one alive. Blank. End of chapter. Novel. The Primordial Law. Volume 3, Chu Prefecture Lantern Festival. Chapter 83 227 You are an inheritor level. 83rd of Volume 3. Translator. Shadow Knight AK. Editor. Shadow Knight AK. Luansheng Linyu's figure flickered and vanished from the rooftop, heading straight for Long Dian, the top martial mystic cultivator of the Eastern Territory, at the Dragon Palace. Yuzi's flowing silver mask is no ordinary artifact. Could it be a 7th grade 100-character scripture artifact? Li Wei thought. It shattered over a dozen formations with a single strike. It must be. Qi Xiao nodded. Yuzi's background is extraordinary. He carries the bloodline of an ancient immortal giant beast. The elders behind him, with his exceptional talent, would certainly have given him some powerful defensive treasures. On the 7th night of the month, Li Wei and Yang Qingxi had planned to kill Yuzi with their first move. It was the most dangerous opening move, and Yuzi had only survived thanks to the flowing silver mask. Fortunately, they never gave him a chance to activate it. Even if Yuzi had activated it, it wouldn't have been too overwhelming. The strike just now was powered by over 205 Seas Realm martial mystic cultivators, allowing the 7th grade 100-character scripture artifact to unleash its full power. Even a Dao Seed Realm martial mystic cultivator would have had to retreat before such an attack. Zhuo Qiuting used spiritual energy transmission to send a message into the darkness below the city walls. Send the signal. Have Zhu Yibai and the others attack the far western ashlands headquarters. Let's see if Luansheng Linyu continues to target Dragon Sect or retreats to West City. Li Wei understood Zhuo Qiuting's strategy. Tonight's battle was crucial. Zhuo Qiuting was treating it as a decisive showdown. If Luansheng Linyu broke through Dragon Sect, the Zhuoqiu sect would attack the far western ashlands headquarters. If Zhe Shantong breached the Thundercloud sect, the other Zhuoqiu sect force would undoubtedly strike the prefectural governor's mansion. By doing this, even if Dragon Sect and the Thundercloud sect were eliminated, the two strongest factions, the far western ashlands and the Imperial Court, would be weakened by half. Only by achieving this could the Zhuoqiu sect hope to emerge as the ultimate victor in the next 3 days. Failure to do so. The next 3 days would be excruciating. The outcome hinged on tonight. The Xuanhuan sect possessed the most accurate intelligence network, leaving no room for strategic miscalculations. The enemy's strength distribution was completely transparent to them. Long Dian is no match for Luan Sheng Linyu. He cannot die. Xuanhuan Ting's figure shot out, leaping from the city wall and vanishing into the night in an instant. Li Wei asked, are Xuanhuan Ting and Xuanhuan Hong only here to save Long Dian and Lu Kangsheng tonight? Qi Xiao nodded. Once everyone's headquarters have been breached, the final outcome will depend on the clash between the top experts. Only by securing Long Dian and Lu Kangsheng can the Xuanhuan sect truly claim victory. Li Wei asked, they must have promised them a certain number of immortality pills, dragon seeds, and dragon bones. That's right. When it comes to keeping promises, the other 3 sects can't compare to the Xuanhuan sect. Qi Xiao opened the third-class invitation card again, revealing a dragon bone ticket inside, 20 immortality pill tickets. Most of them are gathered in East City tonight. Zhe Shantong has 3, Luan Sheng Linyu has 4, Tang Wancho has 4, Long Dian has 2, and Lu Kangsheng has 1. Li Wei asked, where is the Snow Sword Tang court stationed? Qi Xiao pointed to a location near the edge of the map inside the invitation card. The Snow Sword Tang court is guarding the outer city walls, likely to prevent martial mystic cultivators from Dragon sect and Thundercloud sect from escaping Chu Prefecture city with their invitation cards. Ultimately, the Snow Sword Tang court's strength still falls short of the far western Ashlands and the Imperial court. Shi pulled out his second-tier invitation card and sighed. Brother Wei, our invitation cards are completely blank. They're just like useless scraps of paper. Can't wait any longer. Li Wei chuckled. Shi said, tonight, we need to secure at least 1 dragon bone ticket. That will allow us to lock down the locations of all the tickets in the entire city. Whoosh. A brilliant white light erupted from the direction of the dragon sect stronghold. 100-character scripture jade boat soared into the sky, enveloped in a swirling cloud of white spiritual qi. It shot straight out of the city, instantly passing over the heads of Li Wei and his companions. Below the jade boat, the masters from the far western Ashlands, each displaying their unique skills, pursued it across the ground. The 3 men immediately jumped down from the city wall and hid. Qi Xiao opened his invitation card. There are 5 dragon seed tickets and 6 dragon bone tickets on the jade boat. And the martial mystic cultivators from the far western Ashlands chasing it on the ground. Between the dragon seed tickets and dragon bone tickets, there are more than 20 in total. So many experts. First class, second class, third class, second tier. Not a single weakling among them, yet they're all appearing in droves, Shi exclaimed. Li Wei said, this is a rare opportunity to fish in troubled waters. Tonight, let's help you secure the dragon bone tickets and dragon seed tickets first. Qi Xiao immediately slapped his chest and vowed, if you can help Qi Xiao secure even a single dragon seed ticket, it will be like giving me a second life. From now on, if you two ever need anything, Qi Xiao will gladly walk through fire and water to fulfill your request. On the outer city wall, 6 7th Sea martial mystic cultivators from the Snow Sword Tang court joined forces to conjure a giant sword, which cleaved the dragon sect's spiritual artifact jade boat in 2. Tang Wancho stood atop the wall, her hands clasped in a gesture of respect and a smile playing on her lips. She announced in a clear voice, 5 dragon seed tickets, 6 dragon bone tickets. If you give up, I'll let you pass immediately. Dragon sect has already been defeated. There's no need to fight to the death anymore. We're all rebels, and the Imperial court is our common enemy. Realizing they couldn't escape the city, the dozens of dragon sect experts aboard the spiritual artifact jade boat scattered in all directions. Tang Wancho's expression darkened. Pursue them. She commanded. Li Wei had been observing the night's battle unfold, but something felt off. He couldn't quite put his finger on it. He shared this feeling with Qi Xiao and Shi. Shi said, don't overthink it. The entire city is in chaos tonight, with various factions vying for power in a complex web of alliances and betrayals. Even the leaders of the major powers who've spent countless hours strategizing for this night can only take things one step at a time. We won't have a clear picture until the battle ends. Ah! A low, mournful cry echoed from the street nearby. Li Wei stood in the shadows beneath the eaves, concealing his aura as he gazed out at the wide street. He saw young Master Yuan Tujun of Night City riding the Nightscale Colossus, relentlessly pursuing a dragon sect martial mystic cultivator. The two were locked in a desperate chase, both wielding long spears as their weapons. Each clash of their spears sent waves of energy rippling outwards, shaking the street and sending snow flying from the rooftops. The buildings lining the street were shrouded in shimmering formation light, flickering brightly and dimly with each exchange. The dragon sect martial mystic cultivator was already severely wounded, a gaping hole torn through his chest. It's Yuan Tujun, the 5th ranked in the 2nd class of the Southern Territory, and Long Jingsong, the 4th ranked in the 3rd class of the Eastern Territory, Qishao said, his eyes gleaming as he looked at the invitation card in his hand, 1 dragon seed ticket and 2 dragon bone tickets. What an opportunity. PFF'd. Yuan Tujun leapt from the night-scale colossus's back, his blood flowing like a dragon's roar. The long spear in his hand, tainted with Night Emperor toad poison, struck Long Jingsong's neck with lightning speed. So this is all the Eastern Territory's top 3 amount to. In the Southern Territory, they'd only be 2nd tier. Yuan Tujun sneered and crouched down, rummaging through the corpses. He had just retrieved Long Jinsong's invitation card when his expression suddenly changed. The spiritual qi within him transformed into a powerful shockwave that surged violently backward. Qi Shao, wielding his broad-backed battle blade, flew above and behind Yuan Tujun, unleashing a blade of light several meters long. The shockwave of spiritual qi Yuan Tujun had released was cleaved apart by the blade. Bang! A long spear thrust out. Caught off guard, Yuan Tujun was knocked back several steps. When he saw his attacker, he roared, Qi Shao, are you willing to risk your life for a dragon seed ticket? Who isn't risking their life for a dragon seed ticket? Qi Shao unleashed his second strike, manifesting a 5-jong tall battle technique intent divine shadow behind him. Both were pure immortal physiques at the great perfection of the 5 seas realm, but one was the Southern Territory's 2nd class, while the other was the Southern Territory's top 3. In a flash, they had exchanged dozens of blows. Shi seized the opportunity, burrowing from the ground behind Yuan Tujun and landing a punch squarely in his back. After landing a successful blow, Yuan Tujun immediately retreated. Having endured Shi's punch and Qi Shao's blade, he swiftly fled to the right, landing on a rooftop. A trickle of blood escaped from the corner of his mouth as he gritted his teeth and cautiously scanned his surroundings. Shi was already waiting on the rooftop, blocking his path. He chuckled, young city lord, do you think you can handle 2 of us at once? Yuan Tujun suppressed his injuries, the crescent mark on his brow glowing brightly as the battle technique intent of his heterogeneous battle technique manifested. A 5-jong long crescent moon, radiant and dazzling, hovered above his head and behind him. Spiritual qi swirled around it like cloud mist, exuding an aura of boundless mystery. He snorted, Shi, you just broke through to the 7th sea, didn't you? You and Qi Shao think you can hold me here. Yuan Tujun whistled sharply. In the distance, the night-scale colossus roared, immediately spreading its massive wings and soaring toward the rooftop. On the street below, Li Wei finished carefully searching Long Jingsong's body. He picked up the dragon-scale spear from the ground and hurled it. PFF'd. The spear pierced through the night-scale colossus's abdomen, passing clean through its body and soaring into the night sky. Blood splattered, and the beast let out a mournful cry. Li Wei, the yellow dragon sword strapped to his back, his Taoist robe pristine, looked up at the roof. I've been here for so long, and the young city lord still hasn't noticed me. Qi Shao, his saber drawn, blocked Yuan Tujun's escape route from another direction, laughing loudly, 1 against 3, still confident. Yuan Tujun recognized Li Wei as a 5th stage of the 5 seas realm martial mystic artist, but his wariness of him surpassed even his caution toward Qi Shao and Shi. He said coldly, you've finally shown yourself. Tonight in East City, there are more people who want you dead than you can count on 2 hands. Care to guess why I dared to reveal myself? Li Wei activated the clear void cicada chasing step, his feet treading on wisps of blue smoke. His body blurred into countless afterimages, tracing an arc across the street and instantly appearing before Yuan Tujun. He raised his sword, and the battle technique intent divine shadow materialized, illuminating the surroundings. So fast. Yuan Tujun was shocked. He channeled all his spiritual qi, and his first grade 100-character sutra spiritual artifact grade long spear thrust forward with tremendous force. 127 white scripture characters emerged on the spear shaft, flowing rapidly like a torrential downpour toward the spearhead. Boom. Bang bang. Swords and spears clashed, the metallic clang of steel echoing endlessly. After a dozen exchanges, all the white scriptures shattered and scattered. Yuan Tujun felt an overwhelming force surge from the long spear. The injuries he had been suppressing finally overwhelmed him, and he spat out a mouthful of blood, his body plummeting from the rooftop. You are at the inheritor level. Had he not fought Li Wei personally, Yuan Tujun would never have believed he had grown so powerful. No wonder he had dared to participate in tonight's chaos without restraint. After all, every inheritor at the Hidden Dragon Lantern Festival was a dragon crossing the river. Blank. End of chapter. Novel. The Primordial Law. Volume 3, Chu Prefecture Lantern Festival. Chapter 84 228 An Old Friend from the Southern Region. 84th of Volume 3. Translator, Shadow Knight AK. Editor, Shadow Knight AK. It wasn't just Yuan Tujun who was shocked. Qi Xiao and Shi Shishi watched Li Wei descend like a celestial being, his sword flashing repeatedly before he sent the renowned young Southern Territory powerhouse crashing off the roof. The sheer impact of the scene left them speechless. Shi Shishi exclaimed, "Brother Wei, have you and Yang Qingxi been cultivating some secret dual cultivation technique these past few days? Otherwise, how could your cultivation and combat prowess have advanced to this level? Definitely at the inheritor level. Is this the achievement of the 5th stage 5 seas realm?" Qi Xiao wondered, questioning whether he had been on the right path in his martial mystic path for the past 20 years. It was important to remember that both Qi Xiao and Yuan Tujun possessed pure immortal physiques. In the surging spring realm, they had opened 9 springs, with all their meridian veins silver. In the 5 seas realm, they had already perfected their 7th sea. Standing at the absolute peak below the Dao Seed realm, they had no weaknesses. The only people capable of defeating them in a dozen moves or less were those at the inheritor level. What set inheritors apart was their ability to open over 100 meridian veins in the surging spring realm and cultivate golden meridian veins. In the 5 seas realm, each chi sea was far more expansive. They were comprehensively superior. Li Wei said, "How could there be so many inheritors? Yuan Tujun was already injured, so his combat prowess has declined significantly. Let's make this quick and send young city lord Yuan on his way." The far western Ashlands were a formidable power, teeming with powerful experts. Whenever the opportunity arose, Li Wei naturally aimed to clip their claws, shear their wings, and weaken Luansheng Linyu. In front of Yin or Shi Si and the others, he maintained the demeanor of a divine hidden one, so he had to act like one. The vast disparity in cultivation between him and Luansheng Linyu meant he couldn't defeat him directly for now. But he could still slay a few 7th sea martial mystic cultivators from the far western Ashlands. Bringing their heads back and placing them on the sacrificial altar would be far more convincing than offering a few pieces of fruit. It would carry far greater significance as a tribute. What price will you pay to send me on my way? Under the eaves, Yuan Tujun's long purple hair cascaded down his back, his eyes sharp and cold as blades, fixed on Li Wei, who had landed on the ground opposite him. Guided by spiritual qi, the blood flowing from his wound transformed into wisps of blood mist, surging into the vengeful soul spear in his hand, which measured 12 feet in length. The pale white crescent moon mark on his forehead, signifying his status as a member of the Knight clan royal family, gradually turned crimson. Qi Xiao, with his vast knowledge, shouted, "This is bad. That's a blood refinement artifact, sealed with a dead spirit inside." Li Wei's legs tensed like a drawn bowstring, and he shot forward with incredible speed, the air exploding in sonic booms as he moved. He thrust his sword straight ahead. A dragon shadow emerged from the yellow dragon sword, writhing along his arm and blade. Yuan Tujun heightened his senses to their peak, leveling his battle spear and sinking his legs. A 5-jong long crescent battle technique intent projection flowed into his battle weapon. Bang! With a single thrust, he struck the tip of Li Wei's yellow dragon sword with pinpoint accuracy. The stone slabs of the street, stretching dozens of meters, shattered completely, cracking and popping under the impact. Yuan Tujun's strength naturally couldn't match Li Wei's. He was forced to retreat violently. But within his vengeful soul spear, scriptures and ghostly mist surged outward like waves in all directions. 6 dead spirits, each radiating a powerful aura, burst forth from the spearhead. Each was colossal, taller than a house, with a blood moon mark on their foreheads. The 6 blood moon ghosts formed a battle formation to intercept Li Wei. Having already suffered injuries from their earlier clash, Yuan Tujun's condition worsened. He fled along the shadows under the eaves, swiftly disappearing into a darker alleyway. He was acutely aware that even with the aid of the 6 dead spirits, he stood no chance against the 3 opponents. "Don't worry about me. Don't let him escape," Li Wei shouted. Qi Xiao, employing his movement technique, leapt onto the rooftops above Yuan Tujun, alternately leaping and teleporting. In that moment, he understood why Yuan Tujun ranked second in the Southern Territory's second tier, while he himself was only third in the top 3. Just the 6 dead spirits within the vengeful soul spear had already elevated Yuan Tujun's combat strength by a significant margin. This treasure was several times more expensive than an ordinary first-grade 100-character scripture artifact. Yuan Tujun charged to the end of the alleyway, suddenly sensing danger and immediately stopping. Shi flashed out, unleashing his signature technique, the heaven-piercing fist. He threw a punch directly at Yuan Tujun. His fist shone like a star, causing the air within several meters to tremble. This was Shi's explosive attack fist technique, specifically designed to counter martial mystic cultivators with pure immortal physiques at the same cultivation level. Yuan Tujun didn't have time to thrust his vengeful soul spear. He could only plant the spear as a pillar to defend himself. Boom! The fist collided with the spear shaft, producing a resounding metallic clang. Over 100 scriptures erupted from Shi's fist, slamming into Yuan Tujun's body. Yuan Tujun realized then that Shi was wearing a lotus finger tiger. The scriptures were being fired from the index finger, piercing through his protective spiritual chi and sending him flying backward. Qi Xiao descended from the rooftop, raising his blade to slash down. On the street, Li Wei, employing the clear void cicada chase step, lifted his body off the ground. He took 6 steps in midair, leaving behind 6 afterimages of himself executing different sword techniques. Without looking back, he pursued Shi into the alleyway. Behind him, the 6 dead spirits, their auras immensely powerful, burned where they had been struck by the yellow dragon sword. The flames spread across their bodies. Moments later, the 6 figures burned into 6 crimson clouds of smoke. The 6 phantom images of Li Wei vanished along with them. Li Wei, who had been charging through the alley, looked up and saw a familiar figure on the rooftop, following his path. It was the immortal patrol envoy from the Calamity Crossing Temple, whom he had already encountered twice. Why is it her again? Li Wei frowned. A moment later, he reached the battlefield. Under the combined attacks of the 3, Yuan Tujun's pleas for mercy went unanswered. Qi Xiao's blade severed his neck, sending his head rolling several yards away. Li Wei picked up the bloody head and stuffed it into a boundary pouch. Quick, find the invitation. Qi Xiao and Shi quickly knelt down, frantically searching the corpse's pockets. Li Wei turned and looked up at the immortal patrol envoy from the Calamity Crossing Temple, who stood high above in her Taoist robe. After a moment's thought, he transformed into a wisp of green smoke and flew to her side, glancing at the book in her hand to see what she was writing. He was stunned. He saw her writing, 12th day of the Lunar New Year, night. Li Wei of Li Prefecture's combat power surged to inheritor level. Slew Yuan Tujun. Even an immortal patrol envoy can't just write whatever she wants. Yuan Tujun was injured, and my combat power didn't reach inheritor level. Besides, it was Qi Xiao who killed Yuan Tujun. Qi Xiao of the Qi clan in Li Prefecture. Li Wei knew perfectly well that in the treacherous Chu Prefecture city, he needed both fierce determination to face any hardship and challenge, and clear self-awareness to avoid overestimating his abilities. Ideally, he should even slightly underestimate himself. The immortal patrol envoy hadn't recorded Qi Xiao's achievements. Closing her notebook, she vanished in a flash before Li Wei's eyes, too fast for the naked eye to follow. Back on the ground, Li Wei sighed deeply. Qi Xiao and Shi had already found a dragon seed ticket and 2 dragon bone tickets on Yuan Tujun's true body and were arguing over how to divide them. Brother Wei, what's wrong? Shi asked curiously. I feel like that immortal patrol envoy from the Calamity Crossing Temple is trying to set me up for a fall, Li Wei replied, recounting what had just happened. Qi Xiao laughed heartily. I may have beheaded Yuan Tujun, but you did the most work. I think they're right to remember you. Besides, your strength is definitely at the inheritor level. Maybe a bit strained, but you're definitely a tier above me and Yuan Tujun. Brother Wei, that ultimate technique you used to kill Yuzi is now legendary. Even ordinary inheritors wouldn't stand a chance against it, Shi said. Li Wei said, which inheritor doesn't have their own unique technique? Don't think too much about it. Perhaps the Calamity Crossing Temple is already planning to make you a hidden dragon. Let's first discuss how to split the tickets, Qi Xiao said. You two split them. Li Wei removed Yuan Tujun's boundary pouch, picked up the Vengeful Soul Spear, and then went to retrieve the dragon scale spear he had thrown earlier. First grade 100-character scripture artifacts. Each one was worth tens of thousands of Xuanhuan coins, a considerable sum. He wasn't interested in the dragon seed tickets or dragon bone tickets for now. He planned to return to the clumsy garden tonight and hide for 3 days. Once the 7 phoenix-winged moth emperors grew to 7 inches, he would practice a battle technique that could unleash 150 times his usual battle power with a single strike at the peak of battle intent. On the final day, he would seek out targets to seize the dragon seed tickets and dragon bone tickets. If he had the chance, he would also try to secure a immortality pill token. Taking the tickets now would make him a target, leaving him unable to sleep soundly anywhere. Li Wei stored the 2 spears in his boundary pouch and quickly returned. The 2 men had already finished dividing the tickets. Qi Xiao took a dragon seed ticket, while Shi took a dragon bone ticket. The second dragon bone ticket was temporarily kept by Qi Xiao, to be given to Li Wei when he needed it in the future. No need for formalities, Qi Xiao said, beaming. After the Hidden Dragon Lantern Festival, I'll immediately break through to the Dao Seed realm. Once your brother here reaches that level, I'll make sure you two are taken care of properly. The finest food, drink, and accommodations, all top tier. And you absolutely must attend my Dao Seed banquet. Shi, already greedy for more after securing a dragon bone ticket, now eyed the dragon seed tickets. With the 3 of us working together, we could even overpower an inheritor. Should we try to snatch a few more? Li Wei shook his head. I have a bad feeling about tonight. My heart's been racing all evening. Let's not linger in East City any longer. We should head back to South City. Not good. We stayed here too long. Someone surrounded us. Qi Xiao opened his invitation, revealing on the map that the Dragon Seed and Dragon Bone tickets were converging on their location. Let's go. Qi Xiao led the way, followed closely by Li Wei and Shi Shi. They constantly adjusted their course, weaving through alleys and leaping over walls, desperate to break through the encirclement. But they were cornered along the banks of a narrow, 10-yard-wide river. Clink, clink. Ku Di stood on the opposite bank, twirling her tin staff. The staff's various sized rings collided, producing a melodious chime. Her white monk's robe was covered in dense scriptures, and her serene, ethereal aura blended seamlessly with the darkness. Roar. A tiger's roar erupted, generating a powerful gust of wind. Miadi and the 5-Zhong-Long Golden Tiger battle method intent emerged from the riverside woods to their right. He chuckled darkly. What a narrow world. I thought we'd found Dragon Seed tickets and Dragon Bone tickets from the Dragon Sect, but it's just the 3 old acquaintances from the Southern Territory. Amitabha. The one-armed Daodi formed a Buddhist mudra and appeared on the surface of the river to their left. Spiritual chi coalesced beneath his feet, forming a misty bridge for him to stand upon. Li Wei sensed something and turned around. He saw GD, the second ranked among the 4 truths of Coffin Mountain, standing on the roof of a shop dozens of meters away. He possessed a heterogeneous pure immortal physique, his flesh and blood forged from pure gold, radiating explosive power. He was a second-tier champion of the Southern Territory, his combat prowess rivaling Yuan Tujun's. Li Wei's gaze continued to search, convinced that the immortal patrol envoy from the Calamity Crossing Temple was nearby, but he couldn't spot them, unsure of their hiding place. Qi Xiao transmitted to the others, the 4 truths of Coffin Mountain are all here. We're definitely outnumbered, but as long as we stick together, they won't be able to do much. Which direction should we break through? We haven't even fought yet, how can you say we'll lose? Inheritors fight inheritors, pure immortal physiques fight pure immortal physiques. I'll take the short end of the stick and face the aberrant humanoids, Shi declared. Qi Xiao wanted to strangle him. GD and the Daodi were both pure immortal physiques. If he could have fought 2 opponents at once, how could he have settled for the top 3 in the Southern Territory? Li Wei naturally wanted to eliminate the 4 truths of Coffin Mountain, these claws of Luansheng Linyu, but he was acutely aware of the disparity in their strength. He reasoned calmly, don't be reckless. Break through to the left and join forces to kill the one-armed Daodi. Here she comes. Before his words faded, Ku Di, standing on the opposite bank of the river, leapt forward. Her lithe body shot across the water like an arrow loosed from a bow, her intent pressing down with overwhelming force. Break through quickly. I'll hold her off. Li Wei pinched his fingers together, channeling his spiritual qi. A 30-foot-tall battle technique intent projection rose behind him. Then, a brilliant beam of golden light shot from his fingertips. Clang! Clang! The top of Ku Di's tin staff, shaped like a stupa, vibrated violently as its 12 circular rings clattered against each other. Ku Di swung the staff, clashing head-on with Li Wei's Siheng Enlightenment finger. The tin staff erupted in dazzling silver light, shattering the finger strike. The residual energy cascaded downward, causing the riverbed to explode with a thunderous roar. Nearby trees toppled like dominoes. Li Wei retreated 2 steps, shifting his finger technique into a palm seal, spreading his fingers wide. Spiritual qi surged within him as he unleashed a massive golden palm seal into the sky to deflect the descending tin staff. Boom! He retreated again, leaving several foot-deep craters in the riverbank. Spiritual qi and blood qi churned within him. Blank. End of chapter. Novel. The Primordial Law. Volume 3, Chu Prefecture Lantern Festival. Chapter 85 229 Hurry and Leave, I'll deal with Zhang Ning. 85th of Volume 3. Translator, Shadow Knight AK. Editor, Shadow Knight AK. I told you. I'm not even at the inheritor level. Ku Di, who ranked 8th in the Southern Territory's first class, is stronger than me. Li Wei shouted this as his yellow dragon sword flashed out like lightning. Though it was a thrust, it formed 3 concentric circles of sword light, composed of countless overlapping afterimages. The sword's sharp, ear-piercing clang forced Ku Di back, nearly sending her tumbling into the river. Ku Di, who appeared to be only 17 or 18 years old, frowned, unsure what Li Wei meant by his sudden outburst. As a 7th sea martial mystic cultivator, it was only natural that she was stronger than a 5th stage of the 5 seas realm martial mystic cultivator like him. In fact, she should have been the one surprised. He had withstood her staff strike without injury and even managed to counterattack. Truly cunning. He deliberately claimed to be weaker than me to lull me into a false sense of security, Ku Di thought warily. After forcing Ku Di back, Li Wei transformed into a wisp of blue smoke, unleashing his fastest movement technique, Trace of Snow, and charged toward Qi Xiao and Shi, who were locked in battle with Daodi on the left side of the river. In the corner of his eye, he saw GD also rushing in that direction. What a strange fellow, Ku Di thought, his speed is even faster than mine. It seems the Li Wei, master encountered in Zhuli City a year ago, the one whose karmic ties were impossible to discern, is this Li Wei. Li Wei arrived near the battlefield of Dao Di, Qi Xiao, and Qi Shishi a step ahead of Ku Di and GD. He channeled his spiritual qi into his arm, then into the yellow dragon sword. His gaze and battle technique intent locked onto Dao Di. The sword emitted a long, drawn-out hum and a thunderous dragon's roar as he unleashed a sweeping horizontal slash with the force of a storm. The sword qi, stretching over 10 meters, crossed the void and landed on Dao Di. Only by eliminating the GD first could they hope to stand a chance. Swoosh. The sword qi cut through everything like a hot knife through butter. Dao Di's protective spiritual qi and battle technique intent shattered instantly. His heart froze with terror as he sensed death closing in, his body turning cold. A powerful surge of survival instinct erupted within him. Dao Di chose to withstand Qi Xiao's blade with the spiritual artifact monk's robe he wore. Ignoring the internal injuries, he activated his movement technique and fled toward the opposite bank of the river. Li Wei's sword followed like a shadow, sword chasing after the fleeing Qi. His speed was far superior. Clang. As Dao Di fled, he heard the sharp clang of a sword right behind him. He spun around and struck out with a palm strike. Before the force of his palm could erupt, the yellow dragon sword pierced through his forehead. PFF'd. The next strike severed his head, which was stuffed into a bag. Blood dripped from the sword's tip. Li Wei's gaze was cold and sharp as he fixed it on the approaching three truths. Dao Di is dead. Are you sure you still want to fight? It was too sudden. No one had expected Dao Di, a veteran of countless battles who had survived countless dangers, to be killed by Li Wei in just 2 sword strikes. 10 steps away, GD's eyes blazed with golden flames. He clenched his fists, rage boiling within him. It was my fault. I shouldn't have split our forces into 4 groups to encircle them. I didn't anticipate that there would be 3 enemies, including an inheritor-level figure. I'm not an inheritor. Dao Di died because the 3 of us cornered him. He was already severely wounded from Qi Xiao's earlier strike. Li Wei felt that everyone was trying to inflate his reputation. Miadi, clad in a tiger skin Kasaya spiritual artifact, bared his sharp teeth. We must avenge Dao Di. At least one of them must die. Let's target Qi Shishi. He's the weakest. Qi Shishi said. Li Wei didn't want to fight. He felt that if they continued, they would definitely attract even more powerful experts. He said, let's call it a truce here. If you want revenge, we may be no match for you, but you'll have to sacrifice at least one more GD. Miadi turned to Ku Di and GD. East City is now under our control. He's afraid of being tied down here and attracting even more formidable opponents. Ku Di and GD nodded lightly, finding his analysis reasonable. This is bad. Qi Xiao stared at the map inside the invitation card in his hand. His face drained of color, and his voice trembled. An immortality pill ticket has arrived nearby. We're in serious trouble. What? Li Wei and Qi Shishi both felt their scalps prickle with alarm. They tensed up and scanned their surroundings. Only the top 10 experts were authorized to hold immortality pill tickets. Yu ranked near the bottom of the top 10, having obtained only 1 immortality pill ticket from the Calamity Crossing Temple. 20 immortality pill tickets. The top 3 each held 3 tickets. The 4th through 7th ranked experts each held 2 tickets. The 8th through 10th ranked experts each held 1 ticket. The number of immortality pill tickets divided the top 10 masters into 3 tiers. The wind howled tonight, shaking the trees and rustling the grass along the riverbank incessantly. Miadi sneered. Now you're afraid. Isn't it a bit too late? Clatter, clatter. 100-character scripture artifact carriage, pulled by 3 azure flame soul steeds, slowly advanced from the long street behind Li Wei and his companions toward the riverbank, blocking their retreat. The smile on Miadi's face gradually faded. He realized the newcomer wasn't the one from the far western ashlands. Tonight, the Imperial Court, the far western ashlands, and the Snow Sword Tank Court had indeed joined forces to attack the eastern territory. But anyone naive enough to consider the other 2 factions' allies was gravely mistaken. From within the carriage, Zhang Ning's voice, as melodious as a celestial song, echoed clearly, "Who killed Dao Di?" Hearing her voice, Miadi's smile vanished entirely, replaced by a near-desperate expression. He remembered that in the nether realm of the dead, when Zhang Ning had been pursuing Long Ting, Yuan Tujun, Miadi, and Dao Di had ambushed her, injuring her and poisoning her with Night Emperor Toad poison. They had then pursued her all the way from the nether realm of the dead to Chu Prefecture. This was a grudge of no small measure. Qi Shishi and Qi Xiao exchanged glances, too terrified to breathe. Li Wei, lost in thought, raised his voice. Well, you could say he died by this Li's sword. Where's Yuan Tujun? Zhang Ning asked again. Li Wei glanced at Qi Xiao. Qi Xiao wore a mournful expression, regretting his hasty sword strike. He lacked Li Wei's courage to admit his actions. He had never met Zhang Ning and didn't know who was in the carriage. However, anyone holding an immortality pill ticket was clearly someone he couldn't afford to offend, someone who could likely kill him in a few moves. Shi recognized Zhang Ning's voice. But in Burial Immortal Town, he had ambushed Zhang Ning and pursued Zhuang Yu, so he was terrified. The carriage stopped 10 yards away. A voice from within the carriage spoke again. Yuan Tujun, Dao Di, and Miadi are all enemies I must kill myself. You've killed 2 of them. Now, who should I kill? Li Wei pointed forward. Miadi is still alive. You. Miadi glared at Li Wei, leapt onto the back of a 5-yard-long golden tiger phantom, and fled backward. Roar. Roar. The carriage curtain lifted. 5 misty dragon souls emerged, coiling through the air before coalescing into a colossal dragon with a solid dragon head, claws, and scales. The dragon swallowed the golden tiger phantom and Miadi whole. Miadi's screams were piercing and utterly desperate. Ku Di charged toward the giant dragon, ready to strike. But before he could act, Miadi plummeted from midair with a resounding thud. His body was a bloody mess, like a pile of rotten meat, and he had already stopped breathing. Roar. The giant dragon dissolved back into 5 wispy dragon souls, which surged into Zhang Ning's governor's robe. No one knew when she had arrived, but Zhang Ning now stood beside the carriage, dressed as a man. The governor's robe perfectly accentuated her figure, her willow-thin waist and ample chest creating a captivating contrast. Though she exuded a heroic and handsome aura, she also possessed the ethereal charm of an immortal, drawing the eye and beckoning closer. Simply standing there, she transformed the surroundings into a pure and ethereal paradise, making it irresistible to approach and explore her. However, when Miadi's bloody corpse crashed to the ground, the remaining few present felt their legs grow weak, their only thought to flee. A 7th sea martial cultivator killed in a single blow. Can we even escape? Shi wiped the cold sweat from his brow, already preparing to use his final trump card. Qi Xiao said, her comprehension is too high. She must have mastered the awakened dragon technique and, with the power of the dragon souls within the governor's robe, she is now comparable to a Dao Seed Realm martial mystic cultivator. She's the 2nd most powerful figure in the imperial court. Next, she'll come for us. Brother Wei, quickly come up with an escape plan. It'll be too late if we don't run now. The usually serene Buddhist heart of Ku Di ignited with fury. Zhang Ning, tonight we are allies. You are being far too reckless. I've already shown mercy by letting him live until today. Ku Di, you are no match for me. If you don't leave now, I'll deal with you too, Zhang Ning said coldly. Li Wei saw through Zhang Ning's breathtaking beauty. Beneath her stunning exterior lay an iron will that tolerated no compromise. Whether it was killing Sheng Qingyan or Miadi, she would never yield to circumstances. Alliances and loyalties meant nothing to her. If you became her enemy, she would kill you on sight. Brother Wei, are you frozen in fear? I'm talking to you. How do we break out? Damn, she's looking this way. Shi's expression changed. He immediately tried to escape by burrowing underground. With Ku Di and Ji retreating, Zhang Ning turned her icy gaze toward the remaining 3. Shi Dharma King, she said coldly, I haven't forgotten the grudges from Burial Immortal Town. Qi Xiao, your Zuoqiu sect is currently attacking the prefectural governor's mansion, isn't it? Li Wei, you dare to steal my enemy, you young emperor. Then you shall pay with your life. Li Wei thought Zhang Ning was being unreasonable. Clearly unwilling to acknowledge their friendship openly, he sneered, if you want to kill me, just say so. Why bother with such a ridiculous excuse? You two go first. I'll hold her off. We'll leave together, or die together. Qi Xiao gripped his blade tightly, crouching low, ready to fight to the death. I still have one desperate trump card. If the 3 of us work together, we can definitely hold our own against her, no matter how strong she is, she said. Li Wei shouted, nonsense. Get out of here now. You'll only distract me if you stay. Qi Xiao saw Li Wei was serious and tears welled in his eyes. Brother Wei, true friendship shines through adversity. Today, Qi Xiao finally understands what it truly means to be loyal and righteous. Brother Wei, you saved her maid before. Maybe you can negotiate. If you can't win, you must escape. She urged. Hurry up and go. He's an inheritor-level expert. Without us holding him back, he'll have a better chance of escaping. We'll find reinforcements. Quick. Qi Xiao pulled Shi away, using the Tao of escape to vanish from sight. The patrolling immortal envoy from the Calamity Crossing Temple appeared by the river, ready to record the upcoming battle. She believed Li Wei should have no trouble escaping from Zhang Ning. But after waiting for a long time without seeing them clash, she finally closed her book. Zhang Ning walked toward him. When she was within 10 feet, she sharpened her gaze and transmitted her thoughts through spiritual energy. Old generation powerhouses must be watching this place right now. They can't hear spiritual energy transmissions within 10 feet. I'm here on behalf of the 2nd Palace Master to recruit you. Control your expression. Li Wei sneered, you want me to join the imperial court? Do you really think you've got me cornered tonight? That I can't escape. Zhang Ning transmitted back, the 2nd Palace Master asked Yang Qingxi about you. Yang Qingxi spoke very highly of you. She might genuinely admire you, or she might be using you as a pawn. I don't want to be a hypocrite, but you should be wary of her. I know you're rebellious and fiercely independent. I've tried to recruit you several times before, and it's always been futile. So I won't even try this time. But as a friend, I have to tell you this. The second palace master has made 2 preparations. Your only chance to defect to the imperial court is tonight. When dawn breaks tomorrow, Zhe Shantong will personally come to kill you. Li Wei did his best to conceal his shock, not letting it show on his face. He was stunned by the second palace master's ruthlessness and move that Zhang Ning had risked so much to warn him. Zhang Ning said, "You have no chance against Zhe Shantong. I spent the entire afternoon racking my brain, and I've come up with only one way for you to survive." "What way?" Li Wei asked. "I'll kill you myself." Zhang Ning continued, "Later, find a way to provoke me. I'll chase you. Escape directly through the east gate, over the outer city walls, and leave the Hidden Dragon Lantern Festival battlefield. You're trying to persuade me to withdraw again. Do you know, every time a peerless beauty like you tries to make me retreat, it only fuels my fighting spirit even more," Li Wei said, voicing his true thoughts. "Stop flirting and listen to me. This is no time for jokes." Zhang Ning added, "If you can't bear to part with the dragon bone and dragon seed, I promise you that after the Lantern Festival, I'll do everything I can to get you a share of each. Both dragon seeds and dragon bones are finite resources. How could anyone secretly divert them without being noticed?" Li Wei controlled his gaze and continued, "As a friend, you've done more than enough. I'm deeply grateful. My master once said that in martial mystic Dao cultivation, anything can be lacking, even a poor environment or starting point doesn't matter. But one thing must endure, unwavering fighting spirit. Once a person loses their fighting spirit and sharpness, they will never reach the pinnacle of the martial Dao. Today, you mentioned Zhe Shantong's name, and I chose to flee rather than fight. From now on, anyone can scare me off using any method they choose. Zhe Shantong won't waste much energy or time on me. The price he's willing to pay won't be too high. Zhang Ning, enemies who can be escaped aren't truly terrifying. There's always a way to deal with them. I still have a knight, don't I?" Zhang Ning asked, "Are you planning to hide? Or will you flee back to South City and use Zuoqiu Hongting's influence to stand against Zhe Shantong?" "Who is Zuoqiu Hongting?" Li Wei asked, genuinely puzzled. Zhang Ning was even more confused. "You still don't know who Zuoqiu Hongting is? Aren't you supposed to be on very good terms with her?" Li Wei was even more bewildered. Zhang Ning realized he was genuinely clueless and sneered, "Zuoqiu Ting is Zuoqiu Hongting, also known as Zuoqiu Hong. She didn't even reveal her true identity to you. How can you expect her to protect you?" When Zhang Ning mentioned Zhe Shantong, Li Wei was only briefly stunned before his fighting spirit and battle intent surged. But when he learned that Zuoqiu Ting was actually Zuoqiu Hong. No, Zuoqiu Hongting, he was truly shocked, nearly losing control of his expression. This was a deception that had spanned from Burial Immortal Town all the way to Chu Prefecture City. Zhang Ning continued, "When we were children, there was no Shoutian edict, and the world was at peace. Prefectural Prefecture and Chu Prefecture were neighboring regions, and the Zhang clan and the Zuoqiu sect had an excellent relationship. She and I were childhood playmates, and I was one of the few who knew her true gender. Later, she likely entered the Zuoqiu hidden sect. Good, what a game." Li Wei was already plotting his revenge, determined to have a heart-to-heart talk with brother Zuoqiu. Zhang Ning secretly worried for him. "You know, a challenge is only worth taking if you have a chance to win. If you have no chance at all, it's just suicide. Do you really think you stand a chance against Zhe Shantong?" Blank. End of chapter. Novel. The Primordial Law. Volume 3, Chu Prefecture Lantern Festival. Chapter 86 230 Blue Heaven has fallen, the yellow heaven shall rise again. 86th of Volume 3. Translator, Shadow Knight AK. Editor, Shadow Knight AK. Tell me, would you consider me a inheritor-level martial mystic cultivator? Li Wei suddenly asked. Zhang Ning, who had secretly witnessed Li Wei's clash with Ku Di and Dao Di, was genuinely pleased by his progress. "I suppose so. But Ku Di only ranked 8th in the Southern Territory first tier, and you still have a ways to go to catch up to her. You're several tiers below Zhe Shantong." Li Wei continued, "Li Jufu had an arm severed by Luansheng Linyu, yet he didn't flee Chu Prefecture City. Kang Li's head was nearly crushed by Luansheng Linyu, but he wasn't intimidated and still dared to fight again. Lu Kangsheng and Long Dian knew the Thundercloud sect and Dragon sect were far weaker than the Imperial Court and the far western Ashlands, yet they still dared to participate in the Hidden Dragon Lantern Festival. Honestly, even though I, from my own perspective, might call them the Eastern Territory's two worms, they do possess a spirit of defiance and a heroic courage to embrace challenges." Zhang Ning's mind drifted back to the Five Seas realm boundary of Burial Immortal Town, the clash with the Fire Crow Cavalry on the Sui River, and that night at the Bingju's Lake. Perhaps the reason she valued him so much was because he always possessed an indomitable spirit, the ability to turn the impossible into the possible. Maintaining her icy expression, Zhang Ning controlled her emotions. You have your reasons, and I have mine. You can't convince me, and I can't convince you. Perhaps the ways of thinking between women and men are fundamentally different. Then let's fight. I'll cripple you, strip you of your current strength, and even revert you to your power from before the new year. By then, you'll understand why you must leave Chu Prefecture City. Li Wei knew Zhang Ning's reason. Li Wei has no chance of surviving Jie Shantong's grasp. Taoli Peach and Plum Mountain, Third Heaven. The Hidden Lord and Zhuoqiu Ling stood side by side, gazing toward East City with grave expressions. The second palace master's methods are clear. First recruit, and if that fails, eliminate. If he already used Zhang Ning for recruitment, who will he send to kill? Zhuoqiu Ling already knew the answer. The Hidden Lord said, I only hope the Imperial Court underestimates us. I'm more worried that Li Wei won't even pass Zhang Ning's test. We've all been young. What young man can resist a beautiful woman? Just like Yao Qingshan back then. If she had only asked me, I would have brought her to the Zhuoqiu clan, and no old fool could have stopped me. Zhuoqiu Ling's heart ached every time he recalled the past. Still dwelling on the past. The Hidden Lord glared at him and said, You'd better worry about tonight's situation. By the riverbank. Li Wei suddenly distanced himself from Zhang Ning, drew his yellow dragon sword, and laughed coldly. The Imperial Court. It's like the setting sun, a crumbling edifice, rotten inside and out. I advise the Zhang clan to choose a new master quickly, or rise up in rebellion. Otherwise, you'll face the fate of a ruined clan and extinguished lineage. Li Wei feared Zhang Ning might show mercy, revealing their scheme to the second palace master. Therefore, he spoke with harsh, cruel words, intending to truly enrage her. Clang. Zhang Ning summoned her Jingyu sword, and a cloud of spiritual qi erupted from her body, enveloping the buildings lining the street. She said coldly, You refuse a toast. Then you'll drink a penalty. Daring to curse the Imperial Court and the Zhang clan. You're truly ungrateful. The commotion alerted everyone nearby. It seems the negotiations have failed. Many pairs of eyes turned toward them. Whether Zhang Ning slains Li Wei, who had risen like a comet, or Li Wei escapes from Zhang Ning's grasp, it was a matter of no small consequence. This isn't a curse, but a fact. How many prefectures of the 28 provinces of Lingxiao remain under the control of the Imperial Court? The turbid world torrent surges forward relentlessly, you cannot stop it. Li Wei retreated to the bridge, and in the night wind, raised his hand triumphantly and shouted, Blue heaven is dead, the yellow heaven shall rise. In the year of Jiazi, the world shall be blessed. Zhang Ning was genuinely infuriated. What words dared he utter? This was forcing her to strike with lethal force. As a member of the Imperial Court, how could she tolerate such rebellious slogans? When autumn comes on the 8th day of the 9th month, I shall open the 100-kill gate. Fragrant clouds pierce the heavens above Lingxiao, and the entire city shall be clad in golden armor. Li Wei shouted again. You seek death. Zhang Ning could endure no more, fearing the rebel would spew forth even more treasonous words. With a sword flash, cold light pierced the night. Like a flying immortal, she instantly covered a distance of over 10 yards, reaching the bridgehead. Whoosh! The spiritual qi emanating from her body automatically condensed into countless sharp white feathers in midair. These white feathers, along with the sword light, attacked Li Wei. Li Wei knew Zhang Ning's cultivation was peerless and constantly improving. He dared not confront her directly, so he leapt from the bridge's edge, plunging towards the water. Like a dragonfly touching the surface, he lightly brushed the water and sprang back up, his feet treading on a trail of azure smoke as he fled south along the river towards South City. Once he reached South City, the combined strength of the Zhu Li tribe and the Zhuoqiu clan would make it impossible for either Zhang Ning or Jie Shantong to harm him. With the clear void cicada chase step, Li Wei's speed surpassed even Ku Di's by a margin. But after only a dozen paces, Li Wei was stunned to see white feathers of spiritual qi drifting down before him. Now that he was truly Zhang Ning's enemy, he understood how terrifying these white feathers were. They were everywhere, as sharp as flying knives, constantly battering his protective spiritual qi. Even more terrifying, 5 Zhang long white light wings sprouted from Zhang Ning's back, their radiance illuminating the 9 heavens, pure and flawless. In an instant, she had caught up to him. Trying to escape back to South City. Dream on. She hovered a few zhang above the river's surface, her aura reaching its peak. With a single stroke of her sword, a dazzling sword qi dozens of meters long erupted, completely engulfing Li Wei's vision like a solid wave. There was nowhere to hide. Li Wei stepped onto the river's surface, his battle intent manifesting behind him like a towering wave. He raised his sword and struck down with a thunderous roar. Taiyi opens the sea. Boom. A horizontal and a vertical sword beam collided. Zhang Ning's sword qi was as vast and boundless as the sea itself. Li Wei couldn't cleave through it completely and was struck by the residual force. Fortunately, he had activated the 3 layers of protective spiritual artifact battle armor he wore, sending him flying backward. It felt as if he had been struck across the chest by a wooden club. In Burial Immortal Town, Zhang Ning had already possessed the power to hunt down Long Ting. Since then, she had expanded her ancestral field and steadily improved her cultivation over several months. At her current strength, it would be nearly impossible for an ordinary inheritor to escape her grasp. It seems she truly intends to cripple me and personally expel me from the Hidden Dragon Lantern Festival. Ah, yes, if I can't even pass her test, how can I hope to overcome Zhe Shantong's? She's testing my mettle. Li Wei knew he couldn't fight her in the open. He left the river, weaving through the forest before diving into narrow alleys and hidden drainage channels to negate Zhang Ning's speed advantage granted by her light wings. Whoosh! Zhang Ning folded her wings and landed, disappearing into the dense cluster of buildings, out of Li Wei's sight. Li Wei felt a surge of unease. He immediately released his mental power, pushing his hearing and sense of smell to their limits. He glanced up at the inner city wall ahead and continued south. Suddenly, a sharp premonition struck him. Hundreds, even thousands, of sword chi surged from the darkness like a tidal wave. Zhang Ning's sword technique was unlike anything Li Wei had seen before. It seemed capable of holding off an army single-handedly, her spiritual chi many times more profound than his own. Bang! Bang! Li Wei stepped forward, his sword flashing in a whirlwind of defense. He made an impenetrable wall of steel before him, shattering every sword chi that dared approach. Shadowy figures flickered before his eyes. Dozens of sword shadows materialized simultaneously, crisscrossing the air in a chaotic dance. Li Wei remained calm, observing with unwavering focus. He locked onto the true blade among the illusions. This strike aimed directly at his wrist, seeking to sever his tendons and cripple him for days. Li Wei formed a palm seal with his left hand, unleashing a golden-yellow divine seal of condensed palm force to drive Zhang Ning back. Zhang Ning didn't retreat, her momentum unwavering. She countered with a palm seal of her own from her left hand. Boom! The palm seals collided, unleashing a torrent of spiritual chi that surged outward. Li Wei was driven back over a dozen yards, his feet plowing a long furrow in the ground. The left arm that had clashed with Zhang Ning's palm force was numb with pain. Though his right hand, which held his sword, remained intact, it was still slashed, leaving a bloody wound that broke the skin. Before he could gather his spiritual chi to heal his numb left arm, Zhang Ning unleashed another full-force sword strike. Li Wei met her head-on. Their swords clashed with a thunderous roar, forcing Li Wei to retreat relentlessly until he slammed heavily against the inner city wall. Zhang Ning transmitted her voice through spiritual chi. Now do you understand the difference? In terms of speed alone, even Zhe Shantong might not be your equal. But your ability to catch up to me every time doesn't prove anything, Li Wei retorted. Then let's try again. Zhang Ning swiftly dragged her war sword across the ground, the friction creating a piercing screech and showering sparks. Then, she raised her sword and slashed toward his waist. Li Wei had already cultivated the Ruyi Chenkan sword technique to an extremely high level. His sword techniques flowed freely, changing at will. After blocking her strike, he retreated like a swimming dragon toward the top of the city wall. Zhang Ning moved like a shadow, her Jingyu sword seeming to cling to the yellow dragon sword as she pursued him up the wall, aiming for his neck. She transmitted her voice through spiritual chi. I haven't even used the dragon awakening technique yet. Be careful. Li Wei warned. Zhang Ning's expression shifted slightly. Spiritual chi erupted from her body like an explosion, sending the 7 phoenix-winged moth emperors that had been sneaking up on her flying. Li Wei seized the opportunity to retreat, creating distance between them. In their brief exchange, he had already sustained internal injuries. Wiping the blood from his lips, he said, Feather Immortal, you're truly formidable, worthy of being the second Palace Master's top disciple. But this injury is nothing. Even knowing Li Wei might already possess the combat power of an inheritor level, Zhang Ning was still astonished that he had managed to block so many of her strikes. She saw in him a masculine vigor that was completely absent in the eunuch officials of the imperial court. Li Wei's left arm lashed out like a whip. After circulating spiritual chi through his golden meridian, the pain and numbness vanished instantly. His rapid recovery was another advantage that allowed him to challenge opponents far stronger than himself. Watching Zhang Ning's slender figure blur and become indistinguishable, Li Wei felt a headache coming on. She's too fast. Spiritual chi surged through his body and into his feet. With a powerful push-off, Li Wei shot upward like a projectile, appearing 10 meters in the air. As he ascended, a dragon shadow flashed beneath his feet. His second step was a leap into the void, sending his body soaring higher and southward. Third step, fourth step. Yellow dragon ascends to heaven, each step 10 meters, his speed astonishing. This movement technique was so extraordinary that no martial mystic cultivator in the city had ever heard of or seen anything like it. In moments, Li Wei seemed to be ascending to the heavens, appearing beneath the low-hanging, dark clouds, as if preparing to cross the entire city from hundreds of meters above the ground and return to South City. Unfortunately, he had encountered Zhang Ning, who could fly. After a brief moment of surprise, Zhang Ning spread her wings and soared into the sky, catching up to him. Behind her, a magnificent and mysterious tower palace battle intent manifested. Just the attack unleashed by her battle intent was enough to disrupt the flow of spiritual qi within Li Wei, preventing him from using Yellow Dragon Ascends to Heaven any longer. He began to plummet toward the ground. The spiritual qi of the fourth sea is indeed problematic, very unstable. Li Wei released spiritual qi clouds from his feet to slow his descent. Boom. He crashed heavily onto the street, causing it to cave in and crack into a large expanse. Before he could even rise, Zhang Ning had already arrived above him. The two exchanged blows, one chasing, the other retreating, their swords leaving countless afterimages as they traded blows for several rounds. Swish. Swish. 7 phoenix-winged moth emperors arrived, like 7 flying knives, surrounding Zhang Ning. Their bodies were now nearly 7 inches long, just one final transformation away from reaching their full potential. Each one's combat power rivaled that of a mortal martial mystic cultivator who had just entered the 7th sea. Together, their combined strength was absolutely not to be underestimated. Initially, they hadn't intended to attack Zhang Ning, but Li Wei had convinced them that only by staying could they obtain enough dragon bone and dragon seed. These two foods would greatly strengthen their physical bodies and accelerate their transformation into emperor-grade strange insects. Li Wei and the 7 phoenix-winged moth emperors joined forces, their 8 streams of power colliding with Zhang Ning's battle intent. The street exploded, sending debris flying everywhere. Blank. End of chapter. Subscribe to the MTL World at Malworld 1 YouTube channel.